This video tutorial shows how to create a histogram chart in Power BI using the histogram visual from PBIVizEdit. The visual is available for download from Microsoft AppSource and is free for use in Power BI Desktop. This tutorial applies to both the standard and the certified version of the visual, and we are using version 5.3 of the visual for this tutorial. The tutorial uses an industrial dataset for 6-point SPF boards from a sawmill. There are 6 columns of data for different positions, 5,000 observations for each position. We have already unpivoted the data from the 6 columns, and all the 30,000 rows, which is 5,000 rows for each observation, 6 columns. The plotted histogram on the left shows how the visual would finally look once all the data has been plotted correctly and all the formatting have been done. At a very high level, we will do 4 major steps. We'll add the data, unsummarize the data, because Power BI by default sums it up. We will remove the repeated values, or we'll adjust for the repeated values. We will remove the default rows limit that Power BI has on a visual, and then finally we will format the visual. The values that we want to show on the histogram is in thickness field. Drag the field thickness to value 1. As expected, Power BI summarizes all value by default, so we need to not summarize these values. So click on Sum of Thickness, click on Don't Summarize, and that unsummarizes the data. Now what Power BI does by default is it counts only the unique values. So this 50 thickness count is only counting unique values between 1600 and 1649 values for thickness. If we go to the data tables and take a look at the data, I see repeated values in here. And because Power BI only shows distinct values or unique values, I'm not getting the full data in here. So I need to adjust for those repeated values. It can be done in several easier ways. There is another video tutorial showing the different ways of how to handle the scenario where repeat values are present. I'll use one of those options in here. Click on Transform Data, go to the Power Query, and let's find our table. Here what I need to do is add a unique row. We can do that by adding an index column. Click on Add Column, Index. This has been applied. Starts with a 0. It doesn't matter for our purposes. Though make sure that this is a text column. So we go to Transform, Text, and this is a text column which cannot be summarized by default. So I close and apply. And we have the index column. Scroll down. The field Retain. Repeat values by is where you want to drag that unique identifier, and as soon as you do that, all values are now shown instead of just unique values. The visual by default shows all the bins as size of 1. In order to change it to a size that's more relevant to your current analysis, you can go to Formatting, click on Field 1, scroll to Histogram, and here you can choose Determine Bins by Size. Then, put a size that's relevant to your analysis, let's say 50, and the histogram shows in the visual. And the bin sizes are now showing 50. 1600 to 1649 as an example. Next, Power BI custom visuals are by default limited to a certain row size. And in this case, we are limited to about 5,000 rows. We already saw that the data table has 30,000 observations, so we want to plot all of that. In order to do that, we click on Fetch More Data, which allows us to get the full rows. The default was 5,000. And you can change to something a number that represents all the rows in your table. Here I put in 30,000. As long as you have a number that's above the number of observations you have in your data, it will work. So I could make 30,000 to 40,000 and it stays the same. Let's quickly verify if we got the right data by putting in labels, field, histogram, labels, and I choose outside labels. Make sure that the constraint size is off. You need the constraint size only when you have smaller boxes and you want to show all the numbers within that. As you see, the visual is now complete. We do want to do 2 more quick small formatting changes to make this visual ready for our corporate dashboard. So you can go to Layout and remove the toolbar. You can always bring it back when you need to. I probably don't need the legend because we are using just one field, so I'll go and remove the legend. Now we know how to create a histogram chart in Power BI. Thank you for watching.